All right, so this is a quick summary about plastic pollution. So plastics. In 1907, Leo Baekeland developed the first fully synthetic plastics, and since then their use has skyrocketed. They're currently the third most produced material worldwide after steel and concrete, and plastic production has sort of increased from around 2.3 million tons in 1950 to 448 million tons in 2015, with around half of all plastics ever produced being made in the last 15 years. And estimates expect production to be double by 2050. Okay, so plastics, they're synthetic organic polymers. They're derived from fossil fuel materials, things like coal, gas, and oil, and they're essentially long chains of monomers, so these repeating subunits, and they're formed through sort of polymerization, condensation, polymerization reactions, and additives are often added to them to make them stronger, more flexible, and more durable. And this kind of allows plastics to be able to be used for a wide range of purposes, so things like construction, packaging, etc. But unfortunately, plastics' useful properties, being their durability and resistance to degradation, make them nearly impossible for nature to break down. The most common types of plastic take centuries to decompose, and here's a good table of the sort of degradation times. They inevitably end up infiltrating the environment, with most ultimately ending up in either landfill or in oceans via rivers and streams. And currently, around 14 million tons of plastic end up in the ocean each year. This is the equivalent of one garbage truck of plastic being dumped into the sea every minute. Furthermore, plastic's the most common type of marine litter, accounting for 60 to 80% of total marine debris. So, how much plastic is already in our oceans? The values are sort of estimated to be around 75 to 199 million tons. Unfortunately, though, the issue of plastic pollution is a global phenomenon. No nation or continent is immune to its negative impacts. Once in the ocean, marine debris pollution is sort of no longer a regional issue. It spreads across the ocean and persists for a long time through ocean currents. Okay, so once it gets into the environment, what happens to it? Once plastics are released into the environment, natural processes, things like wind, influence of UV light, and currents begin to break them down, although this process happens really slowly. We can categorize plastics into three main categories based on their size. You got macroplastics, greater than 5 millimeters, microplastics between 5 millimeters and zero point 0.1 micrometers, and nanoplastics, which are less than that zero point 0.1 micrometer sort of threshold. And what are the environmental impacts once they end up in the environment? As you can imagine, the impacts are catastrophic to marine wildlife. Suffocation and entanglement of hundreds of marine species are two of the most visible impacts. Furthermore, you've got issues when marine wildlife unintentionally consume these plastics. Um, they often confuse it with food, and it accumulates in their stomach, causing them to starve to death. Plastics can also diminish swimming ability when they're sort of entangled. It can cause internal lacerations, infections, external injuries. Floating plastics can also aid the transport of invasive marine species, so they cause a wide range of issues. Current estimates suggest around 800 marine species are negatively impacted by plastic pollution. However, the real value is likely much higher. Okay, so plastics obviously affect the environment, but do they actually affect us? Um, this all links back to the microplastics we spoke about earlier. Um, and these are a bit of a cause for concern. So, when marine organisms sort of consume these plastics, they end up accumulating in their bodies. And then when we consume them, these microplastics actually accumulate in our bodies. And that leads to toxicological and physical effects. Sort of, as we're not really sure quite what it does just yet, but microplastics may cause oxidative stress, DNA damage, inflammation, and other health issues. And they might also cause inflammation, which, when chronic, can lead to serious problems. Okay, so what can we do about it? Without doubt, systemic change is definitely needed. Um, Things like single use plastics need to be eliminated. Currently, more than 60 countries have enacted regulations or bans on disposable plastics. This is a great start, but more needs to be done. Additionally, we need to get better at recycling. So far, less than 10% of all plastic ever produced has been recycled. This value needs to increase for us to tackle the issue of plastic pollution. A more circular-based economy, along with improved recycling, is the way forward. All right, and here's some of the references for you guys. Thanks for watching.